This is Desiree Dubonnet from the International Medical University. Very important topic for today. We're going to talk about validation and verification, evidence-based medicine, the medicine of the future. Here at the University of Timișoara in Romania, also known as the Victor Babeș University for Medicine, we have a chapter, a university wing, that's dedicated to alternative medicine, sports medicine, etc. And the question is, how do you know whether the claims made by a salesman are valid or not? Many people push bad medicine, and they believe that they are actually helping when they're actually fooling themselves, or they've been fooled by someone else or others. With these people, you see, the standards of spotting a con artist are not really easy. They don't really work because many companies do not have validation or verification for the claims that they make. There's all kinds of crazy, grandiose, glorious claims, like spray on Viagra, cure cancer with vitamins, a comb that can cure depression. Here we have the Mora machine. Some really crazy ideas, and when a company knows it cannot validate the claims, it often designs a multi-level organization where people in the downlines, who aren't really contracted salespeople, are tricked into making false claims for the company. It's estimated that there are more con artists selling medical frauds than there are salesmen selling real medical devices. For every good medicine device out there, there's sometimes 2 or 3 counterfeit or bogus devices. Our society has had to make agencies to validate and verify the claims that the salesmen make. The process of validation and verification of these claims depends on medically supervised, double-blind, peer-reviewed publications that determine validity. Anecdotal stories are not enough. Most of these stories are not verified, they're led by suggestion, motivation, greed, and they're not really followed up. It's an inability of alternative medical community to police itself that has led to needs for validation and verification. If you want to go into medicine and you are good at math in school, then you can pass your chemistry and physics and you go into traditional medicine. If you don't have good math skills, you're probably going to be a chiropractor or alternative naturopath, etc. Medical doctors use statistics to judge what's real or false, where alternative doctors are math-phobic and they use stories. The stories are ineffective and they can lead to fraudulent device and make profit for the con men. Few in alternative medicine have the ability to really do the quality studies, but there's at least one that can. In the 70s, I studied statistics and how to do a proper study at Youngstown State University and at Neocom. Here I was able to really learn about the ideas of how to do a good validation study and what were the laws regarding it, and how to do a proper medically supervised research study with good ethics committee, with a university review board, and proper informed consent. Proper FDA clearance studies must need double-blind factors, good pre- and post-test, 20 subjects plus, informed consent, and then published in a peer-reviewed ISSN journal. Very difficult. Then you got to get a notified body. And then if after 7 years of a technique, you can get this technique published in a certified medical university textbook, then it becomes completely valid and wholly verified. This has happened to the SCIO device. Hundreds of medical studies put into medical textbooks. But there are frauds in the industry, and it's not surprising that the liars and frauds in the alternative medical industry would want to slur my name and call me a liar when they are really the ones driving all the lies. There was a device known as the Papini, and it put over 1,000 watts through the body. This device was sold in America as an investigational device, even though there was no investigation whatsoever. And the Papini killed people. I met the owners of the Papini in the Bahamas. I tried to help them to validate and do good research, but they really were only interested in money and sales, and they didn't want to do any research at all. I told them that they were going to hurt people, and lo and behold, they did. Several people died from use of the device. Many Russian devices were also proven to be fraudulent, and fraudulent claims like the Oberon, Imaggo, Introspect, Physiospect, the Life System in America, these were proven to be complete, absolute frauds. There was no validation, no verification of any of the extravagant claims that they were making and how their device worked and how it really worked. And they actually flunked double-blind testing and was proven to be fraudulent. The stories were falsified, registrations were twisted, all bogus claims. And most of the salespeople don't even know that they are illegally making these claims. People were told, promised, and ripped off their money, and if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. The excessive lies and fraudulent claims that these companies had led our society to make an over-fastidious codex legislation. This no law spells the death for most of alternative medicine that can't really do all the statistical evaluations. Drug companies were able to push this codex and even twist it even more, hurting the entire competition. So to succeed and survive, alternative medicine must be able to validate and verify the work that is done. You see, we have to be able to validate and verify the work that we do. After World War II and after the Nazi atrocities of experimentation, the world at the Helsinki Convention 1951 decided that they were going to set down rules for experiments, informed consent, proper medical institutional review boards that would be able to supervise. There's 8 different notifications that must be done and followed. This is the law. Studies done not to the letter of the law are invalid. And it's difficult to do this type of studies and validate your claims, but it must be done. It's illegal to sell a device that's experimental and pretend that it's valid. It's illegal to not inform a patient that he's in an experiment when he actually is. The FDA has encouraged people to do experimentation, and this is a little document that we use. Now let's look at the professional quality studies that have been legally done to validate the SCIO. Let's take a look at what the SCIO has done. A 35-year history of research done under medical supervision, ethic control, published in ISSN peer-reviewed medical journals, published in medical textbooks, that has really gotten to the point of complete verification and validation. Here I am at age 7. I was called a mathematical genius as a child. And I worked as an electrical engineer on the navigation system for Apollo. Here's some of the certificates that they gave me when I was working there. And I was helpful in bringing people back. At YSU then, when I attended, you see, we did the first real publication about the trivector work and the voltage amperage resistance in 1974, and I worked with William Fowler, a Nobel Prize winner, to help put something together. I was then taken to Pakistan and lectured with President Zia and his health minister. I was at the Royal Society of Medicine in London, England. I did work there and lectured for a couple of days about energetic medicine at the Royal Society. I also lectured in Sweden at the Karolinska Institute. This is where the Nobel Prize is given. Dr. Nordstrom and I lectured about different ideas of energetic medicine. 1980s, and I had done many different studies in Denver, here working with Bill Cunningham, my friend, to validate and verify the work that we were doing. Went to Kiev and did cancer research at the Institute of Oncology. Very exciting to be able to work with these incredible minds and to help them to shape the world, as they didn't understand what was or wasn't exactly natural or synthetic. And then I worked out here at Semmelweis University. This is the first time that I was able to lecture as a professor of medicine at Semmelweis here in Budapest. We published our research and were taken to Singapore and published research that we had done on AIDS here in Budapest. We also published our cancer work in Paris and gave it presented in papers because we were able to show that complete verification and validation was needed. And here at Okinawa, I lectured to the government of Japan people to help legalize homeopathy and strengthen it in Japan. So, having traveled all over the world, there's a basic question that we have to address. How does your device know when an organ is good or bad? There's a whole bunch of devices out there being sold to actually do this. Is this verified? Is it validated? How do you really know? And if they can't give you validation or verification, then it's a problem. But here with the SCIO, we have a complete history of verification and validation in science. The second question, can you validate or verify your claim? Can you really explain scientifically, not just explain it, but be able to show that statistically in double-blind studies that your device does what you actually say it's going to do? This is the type of thing that we have to do now to continue. Here in the original 1989 EPFX registration, electrophysiological reactivity, EPR, is mentioned, that we are measuring the resistance and the reactivity changes of sarcodes, nosodes, aurosodes, isodes. It's written in our description with the FDA registration that's still valid. The software goes through a complete validation procedure. Here in Europe, the CE mark, we have transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential, which is a form of EPR, to actually measure the reactions that people have. Now, it's written in the CE mark, not just as biofeedback, to actually do this. And here we have the certificates. You see, because that's part of the medical claims that we can make. But muscle testing and some of these other sham artists, and it's been proven to be a sham, muscle testing, and some of these other machines, you see, they did not pass the double blind. People, their minds affected the speed of delivery of the probe. There is a body electric that has an electrosense, and this was first really discovered with the shark, but now we know that it's also with human beings, with all vertebrates. There is an electrical reaction system that allows us to do transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential or medication testing. But it really doesn't work through a bottle. It works through electrical contact. The shark swims in salt water, and we must have the taste, and taste not through the bottle. Must be able to taste the item. And we have the QQC device, which was able to do this, and it's been patented. We can really see that the device, the SCIO device, is completely verified to do all these things. The life system has no validation, no verification whatsoever. If you take a look at this and ask for that, you'll find that they have none, yet we can supply a small truckload of studies, professional studies, done with complete legality and registered and now published in medical textbooks. The life system, they were asked to verify and validate, and they said, if you want validation, verification, the life system's not for you. You see, Ryan Williams said that he could just tell anybody anything. Now here's where Lima came in. Lima was able to really work with these people. And if you go to this website, you're going to see some of the research that she has done. And she has been able to try to smoke out some of these frauds and to try to help people to understand what is and is not a really valid or verified claim. I was working with Dr. Chelier on the ideas of stress, and I'm going to show you just a couple of the different certificates about me, because people are going to tell you lies about me, and you can go into our websites and ask questions, and I'd be happy to do any type of conference call and talk about the work that I'm doing and talk about the research and help to really bring this out to everybody's attention. So if you do want to do a conference call, please feel free. But oftentimes when we turn on the lights, sometimes the cockroaches run away. But I just wanted to give you a little just touch of some of my background and what I've been able to do and put this together. So I thought I'd show you a couple of the certificates, because people will slur me and slander me and say all kinds of lies behind my back. Here's some of the scientists that I've worked with to help put together some of these ideas. This was the first real book that I'd written, the Promorpheus, sent to the Library of Congress in 1982. Here in Camelford, England, we did a complete study on the aluminum toxicity problem that had happened there in England. And then a similar incident happened recently in Hungary. We were able to reevaluate and show the validity of the TVEP. Here at Semmelweis University, once again, we are doing work on the different AIDS patients and different ideas, and we're able to make different publications. This one published in 1996, showing the reactions of the AIDS patients. Here at the St. Janos Hospital, we did a cataract study to show the electrophysiological reactivity of cataracts. An electrospin study was done and fostered this book, where we did a very specific, wonderful study on electron spin. A midwifery, we had in Hawaii a group of researchers who studied the QXCI and how it worked with birth trauma. So there was a whole study done. The Promorpheus had set the basic idea of this, and working with this book on synthetic chemistry, we're able to show that these ideas of natural medicine were true. And all of these books that were published about the science, about the deep ideas of the body electric and the body natural, and how complex and truly complex it is, and how we have to respect it. And we don't have to work with synthetic drugs. You see, synthetic drugs are an insult. And the QXCI was also shown in a super learning study that's been validated and revalidated to show that it can stimulate. Here's a book on what's eating you. And this fostered many different studies able to show how the skio was able to help with parasites. These different things. Actual valid, verified studies that show that what the device does. Here's a book on smoking, how to quit. And here's how the skio, in a major study, was shown with thousands of patients to be able to help people to quit smoking. A remarkable discovery. Here in the transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential book, we saw how the science was put together and all the different studies that led to the patents of electrophysiological reactivity profiles, and how this was done in 1996, was originally done in 1989, and then reevaluated again in 2006, and now recently in 2011. Here we have a doctor who's been able to work with infrared, showing how successful. And in South Africa, Dr. Theron has said how successfully accurate the skio has been. In over 3,000 patient visits, he's cataloged this and studied it to verify exactly how incredibly accurate the device is. Debbie Drake in Canada, medical doctor, has done analysis to verify the incredible technology of the skio and to show this. And this has all been published in these certified medical textbooks. The parenting study, the electrophysiological measures of interstitial fluids, all of these different books, medical textbooks on psychology that have fostered all different types of studies, the weight loss and how people can help to lose weight, and how we've studied this in stress reduction, and how people can really get to ideas of reducing stress to help their bodies. These are some of the ideas, and these have fostered studies that have been done to validate and verify. A whole book on the electrosense, in-depthly describing it. Project Nahinga, a big book on all the different research about AIDS and how we're able to help people with the HIV infection around the world in quality catalog studies. Cardiology, how to help people. References from some of the cancer books, because we've had publications all over the world. Autism and attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, and we've been able to see in quality medically supervised studies how the device works. Sports has been a particularly interesting area, and I started with some of the first people I ever worked with, Boom Boom Mancini and Harry Arroyo, and I did a study with the Cleveland Browns back in 1988. Later worked with AC Milan to help cut their injury rate by 91%. We did a study here. The Hungarian powerlifting team was shown to be able to increase their performance, and Dr. Bondage had helped us at the Hippocampus Institute. Here's a group of studies that I published here at the Hungarian Sports Academy when I made their presentation for them to show them. You see, because Dennis Johnson, who was the NBA MVP, he did work with the Spurs, and they were able to go to championship. Then China came along for the Chinese Olympics, and we sent a team over there to work under this man, because we're going to try to study how the device works with flexibility, power, fractures, injuries, a whole host of different things. And what we were able to find in the Chinese study is that we were able to help increase their performance and make these people better and more powerful and help the Chinese to win more medals. These are the double-blind studies that have been done around the world. And now Novak Djokovic is using the device, who has climbed to the top of the heap. Number one in world tennis, winner of so many matches. So we can see, as the Chinese have written me a letter, and that I was able to get an honorary gold medal out of this for the work that was done. all of this different type of incredible work to really be able to show how the system works. In the super learning, be able to show from the system that we could increase people's retention. They could learn twice as much in half the time. This is what we're able to show in quality studies. We published this in the journal, a journal since 1976 with an ISSN number, a peer-reviewed medical journal, to show the incredible success. I want to show you now just some of the articles from around the world that have been used to help to educate people, just to give you an idea. And each of these articles is a major work to be able to really bring this type of attention to people, because these are the goals of the future. We must be able to verify and validate what we're doing for people. We have to be able to put our money where our mouth is and take a look at the claims and not just say, well, we don't want to validate this. Because when we look at these studies and we actually do them, sometimes we find, lo and behold, that we can modify the technique, make it better. This is the purpose of good research. This is the purpose of really doing the double blinds, to make what you're doing better and to validate and verify what you're doing, but also to help perfect it. These are the things that we do with the SKIO. Just some of the articles passing by to let us know from researchers all over the world, because you see we've sold 30,000 systems around the world, and so many doctors have done verification and validation, and they've done studies, proper studies, organized under traditional review boards, ethic committees, to be able to really evaluate and validate and verify all the different types of claims. Here's some of the incredible studies that have been done recently, because there was a large study that we did back in 2005 through 2007, where over 2,300 therapists worked together, and they saw patients, evaluated them for over 220 different diseases. Over 97,000 patients were done, over 350,000 patient visits, and here's the studies that came out of this. Over 200 different studies on the different diseases, showing how the SKIO system was incredibly safe and effective in many different types of diseases. A quality series of studies, medically supervised, done with the proper ethics committee, published in an ISSN medical journal, and now successfully published in medical certified textbooks at a medical university. Meaning that this has been completely verified and validated. Verification and validation must come from double-blind evaluation to really make sure that it is not just suggestion or stories or anecdotal, but to really make sure that what you're doing is real. So these studies have been able to show people and show the world, we have this. Not everybody can read these studies because it does take a little appreciation of mathematics and statistics. I apologize for that, but this is what needs to be done, because in today's world, we have to fight against the Codex people. We have to be able to validate and verify, because there are people out there who will lie. So many of these different studies were able to show how incredibly safe and yet incredibly successful and effective the SKIO is. All around the world, different countries registered. In America and Europe, all around the world, many different countries, people working to do a new type of medicine, a drugless type of medicine, a safe medicine. Over 80 different medical textbooks, and let's just look at some of these. And they have ISBN numbers, and they've been certified and validated. Incredible amount of work. Some of these textbooks are 1,500 pages. Complete history of verifiable research from around the world, not just on the SCIO, but all different types of research to help validate the idea of a drugless therapy. I'm just going to show you some of the different ISSN numbers that have been developed and some of the different books. These are all put together in a whole system of medicine that we use at the University of Timisoara to help to educate people on a new idea of medicine, a simple idea. The idea that a drug or surgery can be harmful, can have side effects, and that before we resort to something so harsh, we want to try something simple. And I've tried to put together a very good, well-rounded course, and to make sure that there's textbooks that validate and that are philosophically behind us on every step and every page, so that we all can understand and look at this. And each of these textbooks has verified, validated studies on the SCIO and the EPFX and the QXCI of how well it works, how safe it is. Medically supervised studies done with proper institutional review boards. Books on CPR, first aid, pathology, anatomy, super learning, smoking reduction, endocrinology, cardiology, women's conditions, men's conditions, all different types of things. And I'll continue to work more and more and try to bring this to the world. Europe and the world are harmonizing, and that they're trying to get together. And we've made a 750-hour course, and I've spent over $30 million bringing all these videos and research papers and textbooks all together to bring to you here at the University of Timisoara. It's an incredible 12-month course with NLP and CPR and cardiology and body work and nutrition and acupuncture, herbology, and all different types of things to help you and your family. So you might be able to get a doctorate and get a European license, a professional qualification to do this type of work. You'll be able to see patients and work and help people. And this all can come to you in one hard drive, all of this work that I've done, and you can pay me in karma. It would be too much for me to charge for all these textbooks and all this movies and everything if I charged individually. So I decided that as a humanitarian, I would bring it to you and let you pay for the course material in karma, if you wish. You can get the low-resolution versions without having to pay cash. You can pay, but you have to pay in karma. You must recognize that all of what we've been talking about, and to bring this all to you in order to save alternative natural medicine, this has been my goal. The world is changing. They're a con artist, and we need to validate and verify. We need to be able to ask questions. Instead of slandering me, I hope that we would be able to look beyond that and to look into the work that we're doing and to actually challenge me with questions about whatever. But don't do it from greed, but do it from interest. Do it from that place in the heart that tries to make us all better. Let's try to get all of this out so that everybody can understand. You see, there's a whole new system of rules that Codex is coming to us. And we really need to look at this. And the drug companies fear this information, and they want to slander me, and competition wants to slander me. But here's a course that we have, a 12-month course to help stand up against the ultra-rich, to help us to fight for our rights. And if things don't really work, we go to traditional medicine. And you can do this at home study course, that you can do at home and learn, and get all this course material and all these movies and all these books and be able to learn and take this course at home. And you can pay me in karma. So I hope that I've been able to educate you and open your mind about different ideas, and hope that you can now be able to see different things. And here at the University of Timisoara, we are fighting the battle help keep this alive. We're trying to make sure that natural, energetic medicine can survive as we are proving and doing validation and verification. This is Desiree Dubonnet, and I'd like to invite you to learn more. Get the 300 gigabyte hard drive and learn. It's only going to cost you about $200. It's not much today. So you be good. If you have questions, let me know. Goodbye.